The extra axle. I don't know who's gonna find this recording, or if anyone even will. But if you're hearing my voice, don't dismiss it. Don't call it exhaustion or nerves or just being out on the road too long. I've been driving for 20 years, and I've seen fog roll over the Rockies. I've driven through dust so thick I couldn't see my own grill. But I've never seen anything like what crawled out from under my trailer last night. It was around 3 a.m. The kind of night where the rain sounds less like rain and more like someone whispering across the windshield. I'd pulled off at a rest stop near mile marker 77. One of those sad, cracked parking lots with one busted light buzzing like a mosquito over the pavement. I just started to doze off, you know, that half sleep where your brain still thinks it's behind the wheel, when I heard it. A scrape. Slow, long, metal on metal, like something dragging underneath. I sat up. Thought maybe the landing gear had slipped or something. But then came another sound. Softer, wetter, like something sliding. I grabbed the flashlight, opened the door. Rain hit me sideways, cold and sharp. And for a second, I almost turned back. But I made myself check. I walked around the trailer, looked underneath. Nothing. But just as I turned, I saw it. Or I thought I did. Something moved. It was low, crawling, pulling itself out from the rear axle. I swear to God, I saw fingers, long, pale, and hair. Wet hair. Dragging behind it like seaweed. And then it stopped, like it knew I was there. I didn't breathe. Just stood there, soaked to the bone, heart pounding loud enough to shake the glass. Then it turned, slow, like a cat testing the air. And I swear, it looked right at me. Right at me. I don't know what it was. I don't even want to guess. But if you found this, if you're listening, don't go near that trailer. Don't go near the axle. It's still out there. They say the road clears your head. That out here, with nothing but white lines and engine hum, you can finally think straight. Maybe that's true for other people. For me, it's where the noise starts. I'd picked up the load just outside Amarillo. Steel beams, nothing unusual. My route was clean, Texas to Ohio, no back roads, no detours. Just 3 days, maybe 4, depending on weather. The dispatcher was Thomas, good guy, used to drive himself. He always says the same thing when I pull out. Don't fall asleep with your eyes open, Richard. That's what Thomas calls me. Richard. Never Rick, never Richie. Says names should mean something. Anyway, it was raining from the get-go. Not the kind of rain that comes and goes. The kind that sets in and decides to stay. Sheets of water sliding across the windshield. Wipers squealing every 5 seconds. I barely use the radio anymore. Not since that night near Lubbock. That static. I started hearing things in it. Breathing maybe. Whispering. It sounded too much like a voice I knew. I turned it off and never turned it back on. I drive in silence now. Just me and the storm. I sleep in the cab. Fold down the passenger seat. Cover the dash lights with a towel. Prop up a cheap travel pillow. It's not comfortable. But after enough miles, anything becomes a bed. I used to call home from rest stops, but no one picks up anymore. There's not much reason to dial. My brother used to ride with me. Daniel. He was younger, smarter, always said I was too soft on the brakes. He'd make fun of the way I checked mirrors like I was guarding state secrets. We did a lot of night runs together. I haven't driven with anyone since he died. 6 years back, head-on collision outside Little Rock. Not our fault. Some teenager texting, drifted lanes. I wasn't in the truck. I was supposed to be. Switched shifts last minute. Sometimes, when I'm tired, I think I see Daniel's jacket in the passenger seat. Just for a second. Just a blur of denim and gray. But then it's gone. I tell myself that's just what the road does. It rewires your brain, swaps memories for mirages. The rain doesn't let up. It's always there, tapping the roof, whispering against the mirrors. When I pulled off that night, same as usual, I circled the trailer, kicked the tires, checked the latches. That's when I saw it. Something caught on the axle. At first, I thought it was rope. Maybe someone left a strap loose at the yard. But it wasn't rope. It was hair. Long, black, wet. Twisted around the shaft like seaweed on a propeller. I just stared at it for a while. Then I reached down and pulled. It came off easy, softer than I expected. No blood, no signs of anything. Just hair. I tossed it in the trash barrel near the fuel pumps. Watched it slide down the metal rim, soaked through. I stood there for a while, letting the rain hit my face, and told myself it was nothing. Maybe someone spilled something weird at the last stop. Maybe it blew up from the road. But even then, I had that itch. The one you get at the base of your neck when you know you're being watched, even though you're alone. I got back in the truck, turned off the dome light, and I didn't sleep. The next morning, I checked the axle again. I don't know why. Maybe I just needed to be sure it was gone, that I'd imagined the whole thing, that the rain, the late hours, the ghosts I carry around, all of it was finally catching up to me. But it wasn't gone. There was more of it. More hair, longer this time, darker, soaked all the way through. Strands caught deep in the metal, like it had been woven in. I ran my hand along the edge of the axle, felt it snag on something wet and stringy. I pulled away, and there it was again, between my fingers. It didn't feel like something that got caught while driving. It felt placed, left, like a marker. I stood there, under the endless drizzle, just staring. Somewhere in the distance, a diesel engine coughed to life. But out here, where the sky never clears and the truck stops are half empty, even familiar sounds feel wrong. I didn't talk to anyone that day. Didn't make any deliveries. I just drove. Let the miles fall away. The sound of the rain was like sandpaper on my thoughts. Constant, low, grinding. It got inside me. That night, I parked behind a rest stop diner. The kind with flickering neon and a coffee machine that never turns off. I didn't go in. Just leaned back in the seat and watched the wipers drag across the windshield. I closed my eyes, and then I heard it. Not the rain, not the wind. This was different. A soft tap, then another, from underneath. I froze, sat up straight, every part of me suddenly alert. I didn't move, didn't breathe. The tapping stopped. Then, a slow scrape. Long, almost lazy, like something was dragging itself across wet steel. I reached for the flashlight. Didn't even realize my hands were shaking. I opened the door, stepped down, and swung the beam underneath the trailer. Nothing. Just the steady drip of water, the glint of grease, the silent rhythm of suspension lines swaying in the wind. But I swear, and I'll swear this until my last breath, caught a shadow moving. Not a person, not an animal. Just something crawling away, Too low. Too smooth. It disappeared before the light could catch it. I backed away, got into the cab, locked the doors, and for the first time in years, I sat there, gripping the wheel with both hands, even though the engine was off. That was the second night. The third night, I didn't even try to sleep. I kept the dome light on, kept the flashlight next to me, sat in the dark with the rain hammering the roof, waiting for the noise, waiting for the scrape, for the tap. And it came, right on time. Only this time, it didn't stop. I remembered the old GoPro tucked away in my glove box. Hadn't used it in years. Back when Daniel and I used to film stretches of desert highway just to pass the time, pretend we were making documentaries no one would ever watch. The battery was dead, but the charger still worked. I left it running on the dash all day, waiting for darkness. When the sky turned to ash and the rain thickened to a curtain, I pulled over again. An empty turnout just past a way station. No lights, no cars, just the sound of weather and the low drone of my own thoughts. I climbed out with the camera, flashlight tucked under my chin. My hands were slick. Rain or sweat didn't matter. I crouched low, knees popping, and strapped the GoPro under the rear axle, right where the hair kept showing up. Made sure the angle pointed toward the ground beneath the trailer. Then I pressed record. "All right," I muttered, more to myself than the camera. "If something's been riding with me, maybe we'll finally see what it is." I climbed back into the cab, double-checked the locks, shut the engine off, and waited. The rain hadn't stopped in 3 days. I wasn't sure it ever would. It had gone from background noise to something almost intelligent. Like it was thinking while it fell. Like it was waiting for something too. I tried to keep my eyes open, but the hours caught up with me. Eventually, the hum of the storm blurred into the dark, and I drifted. Not fully asleep, not really awake either. Just floating. Somewhere in that half-dream, I heard it. No tapping this time. A new sound, slower, heavier, like flesh dragging across steel. I bolted upright. My heart kicked against my ribs. I didn't move, didn't even reach for the light. I just listened. The sound circled the cab, low, slow, then stopped directly underneath. For a moment, everything went silent. Not just quiet, silent. No rain, no wind, nothing. I leaned forward slowly, hand hovering above the door handle, staring into the pitch black. And then, 3 soft knocks. Not on the door, not on the window. From beneath the floor, right under my feet. Knock, knock, knock. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. The silence stretched. Then, just as suddenly, the rain returned, slamming against the windows, roaring like a wave. I stayed frozen, hands clutching the seat, until the first light of dawn bled through the clouds. Only then did I remember the camera. It had been recording all night. GoPro right away. Even with daylight breaking through the gray, I felt off. Like something was still down there, waiting. The rain had lightened to a soft hiss, and the world outside looked washed out, bleached of color like a photograph left out in the sun too long. I made myself move, climbed down slowly, every step feeling like I was trespassing on my own rig. The camera was still there, red light blinking, still recording. I reached under, unstrapped it, and held it for a moment. Cold plastic slick with water. My hands were trembling. I didn't want to look at the footage. I told myself I was just being stupid, overtired, overthinking, maybe a raccoon or something mechanical. Maybe the rain had distorted the sounds. Maybe. I climbed back into the cab, closed the door, locked it out of habit, turned the camera toward me. The screen was small, cracked in the corner, but clear enough. I tapped through the files, found the one marked with last night's timestamp, hit play. At first, just rain, falling in thick waves, turning the asphalt into a black river. The underside of the trailer, still, unmoving. Everything looked normal. 20 minutes passed, 40, an hour. And then, at exactly 3:13 a.m., the screen flickered. Not much, just a brief distortion, like static in a corner of the lens. And then, motion. Something entered the frame from the far left. At first, I thought it was just a shadow. Rainwater trickling in a weird way. But it moved wrong. Moved with purpose. It was hair. Long, soaking wet, dragging slowly across the ground like it had weight to it. Then, a hand. Pale, elongated. Crawling out from beneath the axle, fingers bent at unnatural angles. It didn't plant its palm like a person would. It clawed forward, dragging itself like it had no bones. Another hand followed. Then, shoulders. A face I couldn't make out. Black strands of hair hanging low, hiding most of it. The thing didn't stand. It didn't walk. It pulled itself. Closer and closer. The camera lens caught every slither of movement, water sliding off its limbs, hair leaving streaks on the wet pavement. It paused, right in front of the camera. Its head tilted, the hair parted, and I saw its face, or what was left of one. Too many teeth. Eyes that didn't blink, just stared, empty and wide like holes punched through wet cloth. And then, it smiled. Not with its mouth, with its whole face. The screen glitched, lines tearing across the footage. A shriek of static. Then, darkness. The file ended. I sat there, holding the camera like it might bite me. My breath caught in my throat. I checked the time. 3:17 a.m. The thing had been under my trailer for at least 4 minutes. Watching, crawling, smiling. I don't remember dropping the camera. I don't remember starting the engine. I just remember the panic, raw and sour, climbing up through my chest like bile. I had to get out. I had to move. But the truck wouldn't start. I turned the key again. Nothing. The kind of sound that doesn't just mean the engine's dead. It means something's wrong. Deep wrong. Like the whole rig had gone silent from the inside out. I tried again. Then, a hum. Faint. Like something breathing behind the dashboard. I pulled my hand back. Didn't like how the key felt. Didn't like how the air in the cab suddenly got heavy. Like I'd climbed a mountain. Like I couldn't get a full breath. I grabbed the flashlight. Opened the door. The rain was falling harder again. Sharp needles on my face. Cold enough to feel like punishment. I stepped down, boots splashing into shallow puddles, and made my way around to the rear axle. At first, I didn't see it. Just the usual. Grease, rust, bolts. Then the beam of the flashlight caught it. A strand. One long, slick strand of hair, trailing out from behind the wheel housing. I stepped closer. There was more. Knotted, tangled, thick, black ropes of it, twisted around the axle like they'd grown from the metal itself. Like veins. Some of it was still wet, dripping. The drops didn't fall straight. They clung, hung there like tiny fingers. I bent down, I don't know why. Maybe to see if it was caught or stuck. maybe to find a logical answer. My hand reached out before I could stop it. Then, movement. Fast. A twitch, like something yanked the hair deeper under the trailer. And I saw it. An eye. Right there, just past the coil of hair. Open, wide, bloodless white. No iris, no blink. Just watching. I stumbled back. Fell hard. The ground knocked the breath out of me. Water soaked through my jacket, into my shirt, but I didn't care. I crab-crawled away, heart hammering. Then I heard the sound. Inside the cab. 3 knocks. Not from underneath, from inside. I turned, flashlight swinging with me, beam slicing through the dark. The door was still open. I climbed up slowly, not sure what I'd see. And there it was, on the driver's seat, a clump of hair. Not just dropped there, placed, coiled neatly, like a gift. Next to it, a handprint, wet, small, too small, 5 fingers, but too long, much too long. I didn't scream, I couldn't. I just stood there, rain running down my face, down my back, down my soul. And I realized, whatever this thing was, whatever had been riding with me, crawling beneath me, staring up at me all those nights, it wasn't hiding anymore. It was here. It had always been here. And now, it wanted me to know. They found the rig 2 days later, parked off the shoulder near mile marker 77, same stretch of highway I always took. Engine still warm, headlights on, doors locked from the inside, but no sign of Richard. No phone, no wallet, no blood. No body, just hair, everywhere, wound into the seatbelts, caught in the fan vent, strands tucked into the dashboard seams like they'd grown there. A fistful found twisted around the CB mic, like someone tried to speak but never got the words out. The responding officer, some rookie, fresh out of academy, he made it 30 seconds inside the cab before running out and puking all over the pavement. Said it felt like something was breathing in there, not making sound, just existing. When they towed the truck, the mechanic at the yard noticed something else, something no one could explain. The rig had 6 wheels in the back. That's normal, but this one had a 7th, an extra axle. Not listed on the VIN, not on the manifest, not on the build sheet, bolted into the frame like it had always been there. Rusted just like the others, but somehow newer, wrong. And beneath it, just visible in the grease and dirt, was a trail, a smear, like something heavy had dragged itself out, or crawled back in. That night, another driver passed the same spot. Different guy, different load, same rain. He slowed down, recognizing the outline of the abandoned truck. The tow crew hadn't come for it yet, just sitting there, shadowed and silent. And as his headlights swept across the rear tires, he swore he saw movement. Just a flicker, just enough. He looked again and saw hair, soaked, dragging across the asphalt, pulling itself slowly back under. And right before he lost sight of it, right before the curve took him out of range, he saw something else. A face, upside down, staring back at him and smiling, not with lips, with absence. The dashcam footage glitched the moment it appeared, cut to black. All that was left was the rain and a voice on a loop, pulled from Richard's last recording, crackled, broken. Some loads you don't carry, they carry you. Dead frequency. I just wanted to turn something on, just to stay awake. The CB radio was crackling, same as always. A little static, a little noise, nothing unusual. And then, a woman's voice. "Jack, baby, I made dinner. Turn left. I'm waiting." My fingers slipped off the wheel. My mother died 30 years ago. But that was her voice. Exactly her voice. And then she said something else. "You already turned. You just haven't noticed yet." The rain had been falling for hours. Not heavy, not violent, just steady. Like a whisper that never stopped. The kind that gets under your skin when you're too tired to fight it. I'd been driving since dawn. Wyoming. 2-lane blacktop through a whole lot of nowhere. Just me, the road, and a load of steel strapped down in the back. Nothing to see but fog and dark shapes behind the glass. Nothing to hear but the hum of the engine. And that damn rain. I kept glancing at the radio. It was off now, completely dead. I'd turned the volume knob all the way down, but somehow I could still feel it. Like it wanted to speak again, like it was waiting. I told myself it was just exhaustion, just static, bleeding into my brain. You drive long enough, the world starts playing tricks. You start thinking things that aren't yours. But that voice, it wasn't just a voice. It knew my name. It sounded like love, like warmth, like home. And that's what made it so wrong. I tried to laugh it off. "Jack, you're losing it." But the words got stuck in my throat. My mouth was dry, my hands still trembling. I leaned back in the seat and stared through the windshield. Water tracked down the glass in long, slow rivers. And through them, for just a second, I thought I saw something. A house, white, peeling paint, a porch light flickering. It looked familiar. Painfully familiar. I blinked. It was gone. Just trees. And rain. And the open road, stretching on forever. I saw the sign too late. Not a real one. Not lit. Not marked. Not even standing straight. Just a bent metal post with no words on it, leaning like it had given up. But there was a turn. There. A dirt road, barely more than a gouge in the wet ground, swallowed by trees on both sides. No reflectors, no fence, no gate. I hadn't seen it on the GPS. Hell, I'd driven this route 20 times, and I'd never seen a turn there at all. But the road was there now, waiting. I slowed down. My foot hovered over the brake. Not because I wanted to stop, because I didn't know if I could keep going. And then the radio crackled to life again. "Jack, you're tired. You need to rest. I kept your room just the way it was. Come on, baby. Just turn left." I didn't touch the dial. I didn't breathe. The rain seemed to stop for half a heartbeat, and then came back harder. I looked down at my hands, white-knuckled, damp. The wheel felt slick under my grip. That road, it didn't just look wrong. It felt like it had been waiting, just for me. And the voice, "You always came when I called. You always turned, Jack." My chest tightened. I stared into that dark mouth in the trees, and I almost did it. Almost. But I pushed the gas instead. Hard. The tires groaned. Mud sprayed out behind me. I kept my eyes straight ahead. And I drove. The voice was silent. For a second I thought it was over. Then I heard it. Quieter this time. Colder. "You're just like your father. He didn't listen either." I don't know how long I drove after that. Time gets slippery out there, when the road keeps going and nothing changes. Trees, rain, trees, rain. And that silence, thick enough to choke on. Then I saw it, parked on the shoulder, half jutting into the lane, hazard lights dead. Was a rig, a big one. Chrome grille, black cab, no company name, no trailer, no driver. It looked like it had just stopped, like the engine might still be warm. I slowed down, not out of curiosity, out of something else. Something like fear or recognition. And even before I pulled up beside it, I knew. The door was open, not swinging, not busted, just open. Like someone stepped out to stretch their legs and never came back. I killed my lights, sat there, watching. No movement, no sound. Only rain dripping from the roof of the cab like a metronome ticking down to nothing. I stepped out. Every instinct screamed at me not to. But I did. The ground sucked at my boots. The rain hit my shoulders cold and hard. I walked to the cab door, leaned in slowly, and looked. Empty. Still warm. The seat was pushed back like someone had just been there. A steaming thermos cup sat in the holder, and on the dashboard, a photograph. I stared at it. A man, about my age, smiling, standing next to a woman. But it wasn't the man that chilled my blood. It was her. She looked just like my mother, not the way I remembered her. The way she was in old pictures, young, alive, laughing. I reached for the photo, and then I saw the note, folded underneath. Just one line, handwritten in thick, shaky letters. She said she missed me. She sounded just like her. My heart punched my ribs from the inside. I backed away, slowly, closed the door without touching anything else. Got back in my cab. I didn't turn the engine on right away. I just sat there, listening to the rain drum on the windshield, and wondering how many others had heard her voice. I started driving again, slower this time, eyes scanning the dark like it was about to move, like the trees might lean in and whisper, like the road itself might open up and swallow me whole. I didn't touch the radio, didn't dare. But I didn't need to. A voice came through anyway. Not hers, a man. You heard her too, didn't you, Jack? I froze. He knew my name. He sounded calm, not scared, not surprised, just tired. Like someone who'd been carrying something too heavy for too long. I heard her back in '98, he said. She sounded like my wife. Said she was waiting for me. Said she made coffee and the porch light was on. My throat felt tight. She told me to turn left, he went on. Funny, right? That's always the way they go missing. Always left. Then he said, my brother turned. I didn't. Never saw him again. But I hear him sometimes. Late nights, on the radio. I swallowed hard, tried to speak, but the words didn't come. The man sighed. She ain't your mama, Jack. She just wears her voice. My skin went cold. You ever notice it? He asked. She don't say your last name. Don't say nothing that proves she's real. Just old memories, soft ones. The bait. I looked down at the CB. It was still off. Turn it off, Jack, he said. All the way. Rip it out if you have to. If you answer again, she'll know you're listening. A pause. But maybe it's already too late. And then, nothing. Dead air. I waited. 10 seconds. 20. No click. No goodbye. Just rain. And somewhere far away in the static, like the last hiss of breath through a cracked door, I thought I heard her again. Left. Jack. Come home. I pulled off at a rest stop. Not a real one, just a wide patch of gravel with a crooked trash can and a busted street light flickering like it was about to die. I needed to breathe, needed to think. Rain still coming down steady, like it never planned to stop. I sat there for a while, engine idling, heat creeping through the vents, hands locked on the wheel. I didn't want to look anywhere but straight ahead. But I saw it anyway. Something flapping under the wiper blade. I hadn't seen it when I parked. I stepped out, slow. The rain hit harder now, colder somehow. The paper was soaked, edges curling, ink bleeding into the page. But the handwriting. I knew that handwriting. I would have known it blind. I'd only seen it in birthday cards, old notes from lunchboxes. From before the crash. It was hers. It was my mother's. I unfolded it with fingers I didn't trust. Jack, don't stop, don't speak, don't trust the voice. If you see the house again, keep driving. Don't look at the porch. Don't slow down. And whatever you do, don't answer her. She lies. At the bottom, 2 letters, small, almost hidden. RC, my uncle's initials. He disappeared when I was 13. Took his rig down into Arizona and was never seen again. I used to think he just left. Started a new life. Got tired of the road. That's what the family said. Now I wasn't so sure. I held the letter in both hands, rain soaking into the paper and my skin like it was trying to get inside me. My breath came short, uneven. I wanted to scream, or cry, or run. But I didn't move, because deep down, I already knew. She hadn't finished yet, not by a long shot. I threw the letter onto the passenger seat and slammed the door shut like it might keep something out. It wouldn't. The engine stuttered once before it turned over. Like even it wasn't sure we should go any farther. I didn't care. I pressed the gas. Hard. The tires slid a little on the wet gravel before they caught. Back on the road, back into the dark. I didn't want to hear anything. Not the radio, not the rain, not even my own thoughts. I wanted silence. But silence doesn't mean safe. A noise started behind me. Soft, not mechanical, not wind, breathing, shallow, steady, like someone sitting just behind the seat, close enough to touch. I didn't turn, didn't even blink. The mirrors showed nothing. But mirrors lie then. Her voice. But not through the radio this time. It came from inside the cab. You always came when I called. Why are you pretending now? My spine locked, hands frozen to the wheel. She kept going, softer now, closer. I sang you to sleep every night. You remember that, don't you? I couldn't breathe. My foot eased off the gas, not because I wanted to, because something told me I had to. I forced my eyes to the mirror again. And this time, I saw her. Not her now. Her then. Younger. The way she looked in photos I hadn't seen in decades. She was smiling. But her eyes, they were empty. And behind that smile was something else. Something wearing her like a mask. I slammed the pedal down. Didn't care if I lost the road. Didn't care if I rolled into a ditch. I just needed to get away. But the road didn't change. Didn't curve, didn't end. It just kept going. And the breathing behind me didn't stop. The road straightened out ahead, too straight. No turns, no hills, no sides. Just blacktop and rain and the hum of tires rolling toward nowhere. Then I saw it. Through the blur of water on the windshield, a light, warm, yellow, flickering behind a curtain, a house, white siding, wooden porch swings swaying like someone had just left it, and in the window, Her. She waved. Same soft smile. Same hair pulled back behind her ears. My mother, alive, whole, waiting. I hit the brakes. The truck shuddered as it slowed, tires hissing on wet pavement. I didn't remember touching the wheel, didn't remember pulling over. But I was drifting, slow, steady, toward the shoulder. No. I clenched the wheel, turned it hard to the right. The tires screamed. I expected to slide into gravel, mud, grass. But there was nothing, just more road. Black, flat, endless, as if turning didn't matter anymore. I looked in the mirror. No one. I looked again. She was in the back seat. I could see her smile. Faint, patient, like she'd been waiting the whole time. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. And then, her voice. Low, soft, gentle as always. You did so well pretending to choose, Jack. But you were mine the moment you answered. I couldn't move. Couldn't cry. Couldn't even think. Just rain. Just breath. Just the sound of the road under wheels that never stopped turning. And then she whispered, "I'm in the back seat now." The quiet one. I woke up because of the sound. Not loud, not violent, just wrong. A soft, dragging scratch, like a glove across metal. Slow and deliberate. Not like the wind, not like branches or rain. Like someone trying, testing. I opened my eyes but didn't move. My cabin was dark, too dark and cold, even under the blanket. The engine was off. I always kill it after an hour to save fuel. But it wasn't just the cold this time. It was the kind that comes from inside your bones. The kind your instincts recognize before your brain catches up. Then I heard it again. The door handle. My door handle. Turning. Just a little. Not yanked. Not forced. Just tried. I didn't breathe. 1 second. 2. 3. The silence was heavier than the sound. Like someone was standing right there. Inches away. Holding their breath too. I slowly slid my hand under the pillow. Found the handle of the tire iron I keep there. Warm from my body heat. Cold from the night. I wanted to look, but I didn't. Because if I looked and saw him, I'd have to do something. Or freeze, or die. And none of those felt like good options. Then, footsteps. Soft, measured, walking along the side of the truck. The cab creaked, just slightly, under the shift of weight. Whoever it was, wasn't rushing. He wasn't scared, just pacing, observing. I stayed still, completely still. He passed my window. I saw only a shadow, no face, but the shape, tall, thin, arms long at his sides. No flashlight, no phone. Just moving through the dark like it belonged to him. Then the sound changed. A metallic clink, not at my door, at the back. The trailer latch. I nearly choked on my heartbeat. No one messes with the back unless they know what they're doing. Another sound, not the latch, but fingernails. No, not bare hands. It was muffled, like gloves on steel, like slow scratching. He was trying that door too. Still no voice, no footsteps running off, just breath and pressure. He wasn't checking if I was awake. He didn't care. He was trying the doors because that's what he did. Because maybe one of them would open. Time didn't exist for a while. Only sound, cold, and the thinnest sheet of steel between me and whatever the hell that was. Then, nothing. No retreating steps, no engine, no slamming doors, just Silence again. I waited. 10 minutes, 30, an hour. It didn't move. When morning finally came, and the first trucker pulled in to park beside me, I got out. I walked around the rig slow. Nothing broken, nothing touched, nothing missing, except the feeling in my fingers. And from that night on, I never forgot the sound of gloved fingers on my door, or how long he was willing to wait, just in case I might open it myself. 17 years. That's how long I've been behind the wheel of a rig. It's a strange kind of life. Not good, not bad. Just yours. Long nights, long roads. You learn to like silence. You get to know the hum of the tires, the way your own heartbeat sounds louder at mile 200. You start talking to your truck like it's a person. Not because you're crazy, but because out here sometimes, it's the only thing listening. I've slept at every kind of stop you can imagine. Rest areas with broken vending machines, truck plazas with flickering lights, and bathrooms that smell like bleach and regret. Dirt pull-offs with nothing but trees and wind and the distant sound of something alive in the dark. You see things too. People, drunk, high, desperate. Fights, fires, accidents. You stop being surprised when someone screams at 3 a.m, or when a guy bangs on your door asking for change, or a jump, or just a little help. But this, what happened a few nights ago, this wasn't that. It wasn't someone out of their mind. It wasn't an addict or a lost soul. It was quiet, deliberate, patient. And it wasn't the first time something felt off. For the last few months, there have been stories. Not official ones, not on the news, just whispers. People going missing. Mostly men, mostly drivers. Found dead in their trucks. Heart attacks, they say. Or just gone without a trace. Parked one night, vanished the next. You hear it in the way people talk at truck stops. Half jokes. Half glances. No one wants to say it out loud. That something's happening. That maybe, just maybe, someone's out there who knows exactly how to disappear you. I didn't think much of it at first. Just talk. People get paranoid on the road. You spend too many nights alone and your brain starts seeing things that aren't there. But then came the man in the dark. The one who didn't speak. The one who tried my door. And after that, I started remembering all the little things I'd ignored and wondering how many times he'd already walked past me before I ever noticed. It was about a week before the door. Northern Arizona. Late. Cold. I'd pulled into a smaller rest stop just off the highway. One of those places with maybe 5 truck slots and a single vending machine that hadn't been stocked since 2019. No lights except for the pale yellow glow from a crooked pole lamp near the edge of the lot. You know the type. Flickers when the wind hits it. Makes everything look like an old security tape. I parked, shut off the engine, climbed out for a smoke. That's when I saw him. He was standing near the far end of the lot. Not close, but not far either. Between 2 rigs, facing sideways. Not moving, not looking at anything, just standing. At first I figured he was another driver. Maybe stretching his legs, maybe just finished his shift and zoning out. I've done that. But there was something off. He wasn't doing anything. No phone, no smoke, no hands in pockets. Just still. Like a mannequin someone forgot to bring inside. I called out, not loud, just friendly. "Evening, man." No response. Not a nod, not a twitch. I took a drag and waited a second, and tried again. All good? Still nothing. That's when I noticed his hands, black gloves, thin, tight, like leather or latex. They caught the light when he shifted, just barely. But his body didn't move. Only the wind did, curling past him like he wasn't even there. I started to feel watched, not like when someone stares. Worse. Like I was in a room with something that knew I was there and just didn't care. Like it had already decided I didn't matter. I turned away, didn't want to stare, told myself it was nothing. Maybe he was deaf, maybe tired, maybe weird. But when I glanced back, just seconds later, he was gone. Not walked away, not climbed into a truck, just gone. No sound, no footsteps, just emptiness between the rigs, like he'd never been there at all. I finished my cigarette, got back in the cab, locked up and left the light on. I told myself I was being stupid. And then, 2 days later, I heard someone say a guy was found dead in his truck, right off the 40. Alone, locked from the inside. No signs of violence. Another heart attack, they said. Just bad luck. But all I could see in my mind was the black gloves and the way that man didn't move, didn't blink, didn't even pretend to be human. It was New Mexico this time. Middle of nowhere. Flat land, no trees, no buildings for miles. Just sky and dirt and the long hiss of distant wind that never seemed to stop. I'd pulled in around midnight. Lot was maybe half full, a couple of reefers humming steady, one guy sitting in his cab with a phone glow on his face, another rig with no lights on at all. It felt quiet, normal. I wasn't planning to sleep long, just a few hours before heading east. I heated up some instant coffee, took a piss behind the trailer, and climbed back in. I don't remember dozing off. Just that awful half-sleep where your brain drifts, but your body stays tense, like it's waiting for something. I opened my eyes, not because of a sound, but because I felt it. That shift in pressure, like when someone's in the room with you. I lifted the edge of the curtain just enough to see through the side window, and he was there, standing under the lot's only working light, maybe 10 feet from my truck, facing me this time. Not just standing, watching. I don't know how long he'd been there. He didn't move, didn't rock on his feet or shift weight or do anything people do when they stand too long. He didn't even seem to breathe. Just fixed on the cab like he was reading something only he could see. And again, the gloves. Same black, skin-tight pair. Same stillness. Like a photograph come alive. I dropped the curtain fast, pulled the zippers shut on my jacket without thinking. I reached for the tire iron. Didn't grab it, just needed to know it was there. Then, he started walking. Slow, deliberate, not toward my door, not yet. Just pacing alongside the truck, like he was counting steps. I could hear the gravel crunch beneath his boots. Slow and spaced, not soft, not trying to be quiet. He stopped by the back trailer door. A pause, then knock. Not a loud bang. Just 3 soft, precise taps. Then silence. No movement. I didn't breathe for what felt like forever. When I finally looked again, the light was empty. He was gone. I climbed out at dawn, checked every inch of that trailer. Locked tight. Nothing touched. But the driver in the rig beside mine? Gone. Door still closed. Keys in the ignition. But the seat was empty, and his coffee was still warm. Dispatch came to pick it up later. No one said a word about what happened. No police, no search. Just gone. And the worst part? The guy I saw that night, I was sure of it now. He didn't care that I was awake. He only watched, like he was waiting for the night I wouldn't be. You see enough strange things on the road, and you learn not to ask too many questions. You chalk it up to drugs, to stress, to bad sleep, and worse, coffee. You tell yourself it's coincidence, that it doesn't add up because there's nothing to add. A man dies in his truck. Well, that happens. A guy disappears. Maybe he just left. Maybe he owed somebody something. Maybe he didn't. But there's a point where it's not a story anymore. It's a pattern. And this man, the one who doesn't speak, doesn't blink, doesn't knock, he's not part of some rumor. He's real. I saw him, felt him breathing outside my door, heard his boots in the gravel, watched him vanish like smoke. And I started thinking, not just about what he was doing, but why. He's not trying to break in, not really. He doesn't force his way inside. He doesn't smash windows, doesn't scream or threaten. He tries the door, quietly, like maybe he's done it before, like maybe he expects one to be unlocked, eventually. And he always appears late, always when you're half asleep, between dreams and waking, always when you're still. It's like he's drawn to silence, to stillness, to that exact moment when your body stops resisting the dark and your mind lets go. I don't think he kills out of rage or greed or any of the usual reasons. I don't even think he enjoys it. I think he waits. Waits until you're quiet, until the engine is off. The lights are out, the cabin's cold and still, and your breathing slowed. He waits for silence, not outside, but inside you. And when he's sure, when you're just quiet enough, he opens the door. Not all the way, just enough to slide in and take something that was never meant to be touched. And no one hears you go. Because you never scream, because by then, it's already too late. The night I cracked, I wasn't even tired. That's the thing. I'd been sleeping in shifts, windows covered, engine running just enough to keep me on edge. I'd cut out caffeine, stayed sharp, checked every damn lock twice before climbing into the cab. But the mind, it wears down anyway. I pulled into a rest stop just across the Texas border, one I'd used before. Nothing fancy. 2 lights, 3 spots, bathroom shack in the corner that always smells like wet bleach and failure. Parked, ate something cold, didn't plan to stay long. Still, I lay down, didn't close my eyes, just watched the dashboard glow and waited. And somewhere around 2 a.m., I heard it. Footsteps, not fast, not heavy, not urgent, just footsteps, like someone walking straight toward the cab. I sat up, slow, listened. They stopped, right outside. No knock, no scratch, just breathing. God, the breathing. I grabbed the tire iron, already in my hand before I realized it. Flung the door open and jumped down with a yell that tore something in my throat. And there he was, standing there, stunned, arms up, coffee spilling from a styrofoam cup. Older guy, late 50s maybe, wearing flip-flops and a flannel, balding, blinking like I'd hit him. "What the hell, man?" he shouted. I stared at him, shaking. He wasn't tall. He wasn't in gloves. He wasn't the man I'd seen. He was just some poor bastard going for a bathroom break. I lowered the iron, tried to say something, couldn't. He cursed me out all the way to the shack and back. I sat on my step for a while after that, heart pounding, hands numb. I couldn't bring myself to close the door. I didn't even look at him when he pulled out and left without another word. I felt like I'd lost it, but worse. I felt like I'd wasted it. That I'd used up the one moment I might have needed that fear, that clarity, on someone who didn't deserve it. And part of me wondered if he'd been watching somewhere in the dark, smiling with that cold, dead mouth, while I cracked open for nothing. Something broke in me after that night. Not fear, no. Fear had been with me for weeks already. Not paranoia either. This was something colder, harder, a quiet decision that settled into my bones like winter air. I was done waiting. I'd spent too many nights listening for footsteps, checking shadows, holding my breath like it could save me. I wasn't going to live like that anymore. Scared, half awake, jumping at the sound of wind brushing a mirror. If he was going to come for me, then I'd be ready. No more hiding, no more wondering. Just me and him. So I picked the loneliest place I could find. A turnout off a county road, maybe 20 miles past anything with a name. Dirt lot, one busted lamp, no cameras, no traffic. The kind of place you only find by accident, or because you've been there before. I parked with the cab facing the woods, left the engine off, left the curtain open, made it look easy, like I wasn't thinking about anything but sleep. But I was thinking, every second. I had the tire iron next to me, a flashlight, a knife I hadn't touched in years, cleaned and ready. Phone recording, screen dark, mic on, and I left the door unlocked. Not wide open, just not clicked shut. So if someone wanted in, they wouldn't have to try hard. I slid into the bunk, lay still, slowed my breathing, eyes closed, not asleep, but close enough. And as I drifted toward that edge, between awareness and nothing, I whispered, not loud, but enough. All right then, let's end this. The sound came soft, almost respectful, just the faintest click. The kind you only hear when you know what you're listening for. A door easing open, a weight shifting against the frame. I didn't move. I let my breathing stay slow, even. Let the cold creep into my fingertips. Let my body play dead. The door opened just a little more. Enough for air to move, enough for scent to follow. Enough for air to move, enough for scent to follow. Leather, dirt, oil, and something else, old, like mold, or rusted iron soaked in rainwater. He stepped inside. I felt it, not heard it. The change in pressure. That second of stillness before your body knows someone is too close. His breath hit the back of my neck. He didn't make a sound. No whisper. No grunt. Just air, hot and steady and impossibly near. He stood there, taking me in, like he was waiting to be sure. Like he was listening, not with ears, but with something deeper. Older. I held the tire iron loose in my hand, just under the blanket. Counted to 3, then 5, then 10. Then I moved. Fast. I rolled and swung hard. Flashlight in one hand, light blinding, and in the other, steel. The hit connected with something solid. Shoulder, maybe jaw. He staggered, silent, arms up, not even defending. Just absorbing it, like he'd done this before. He didn't scream. He didn't run. He lunged. We crashed against the wall, limbs tangled, metal slamming into skin, breath coming fast, mine ragged, his calm. His face was pale in the flashlight's beam, not old, not young. Mouth open slightly like he wanted to say something, but couldn't. The gloves were still on. He raised something, a thin blade, small, sharp, glinting. I blocked it with the tire iron, twisted, shoved him back. He slipped, boots skidding on the vinyl, and hit the door frame with a thud. I brought the iron down again, once, twice, not to kill, not even to hurt, just to make him stop. Blood hit the floor. Still, he didn't speak. He crawled backward, fast, clumsy, and fell out of the cab. I lunged to the edge, but by the time I got there, he was gone. No truck, no headlights, just shadows and empty gravel, and a slow, spreading smear where he'd landed. I didn't follow. I locked the door, this time all the way. Then I sat on the floor for a long time, breathing, bleeding, listening. But he never came back. They found him 3 days later. One stayed over, sleeping in the back of an abandoned delivery van parked behind a shuttered diner. Someone called it in, said there was a man just sitting there, not moving, for hours. He didn't fight when they approached, didn't run, didn't speak. They thought he was deaf at first, then maybe mute, then just broken, mind gone, nothing left behind the eyes. But he wasn't gone. He watched them the way he watched me. Quiet, calculating, like a dog that had already bitten and was waiting to see what happened next. They processed him. No ID, no history, no prints, because he always wore gloves. 9 deaths, 9 men found alone in their trucks, no signs of struggle, no forced entry, nothing stolen, just stillness. Toxicology reports came back, traces of sedatives in every victim. Subtle, clean, just enough to slow the heart, just enough to make sure no one woke up in time. No evidence of physical trauma, no bruises, no wounds. Their hearts stopped. Peacefully, they said. But I know better. That kind of peace doesn't come by accident. They never got a word out of him. Not in the interview room, not in the transport van, not in the courtroom, nothing. Just silence. A man who walked through the night like it belonged to him, who waited until the world got quiet enough to let him in. And maybe he really is broken. Or maybe he just liked the sound of the last breath before everything goes dark. I still drive, still take the long hauls, still sleep in the cab, still stop at places most people wouldn't even slow down for. It's in my blood, I guess. Or maybe I just don't know what else to do. But things are different now. I don't park where it's too quiet. I don't sleep with the windows cracked. I don't turn the engine all the way off. And I always leave the radio on. Not for music, not for company. Just for the sound. Just enough noise to remind whatever's out there that I'm still awake. Still listening. Still here. Because I don't know if he was the only one. I don't know how many like him are still out there. Walking between rigs at 3 a.m., breathing on windows, waiting for the hum of life to fade just enough for them to reach in and take whatever they want. But I do know this. Not all monsters knock. Some of them just wait. And when the silence gets deep enough, they let themselves in. The knock. You ever wake up at exactly the same time every night? Not about the same time, not close enough. I mean, exact. Like your body's got an alarm inside it you never set. But it goes off anyway. For me, it's 3:17. 3:17 in the morning, every single night, for 21 nights straight. First few times, I didn't think much of it. I mean, I'm a truck driver. Body clocks all over the place, right? Long roads, shitty rest stops, caffeine crashes. Weird sleep is part of the job. But then, the knocking started. I was parked off Route 83, just past that old diner with the gas station that only takes cash. You know the one. Flat desert all around, no lights for miles. One of those nights when the world feels too quiet, too empty. And then, knock. Just one. Right on the side of the cab. I sat up fast, heart kicking in my chest like it wanted out. I looked out the driver's side window, nothing. Passenger side, nothing. Mirrors, clear. Hell, I even opened the door and stepped out barefoot. Nothing. No other trucks around. No wind. No dogs. No people. No reason. And the clock on my dash, it blinked at me like it knew something I didn't. 3:17 a.m. Next night, same thing, same place, same time, same single knock. I didn't even open the door that time. I just stared at the dashboard and waited. It came again. One knock, then silence thick enough to choke on. By the fifth night, I was scared to sleep. Not jumpy scared, not thriller movie scared. I mean gut-deep dread. Like I knew something was watching, waiting, enjoying it. I parked at a different stop, different town, stayed up late, told myself it's nothing, told myself I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm being stupid. But at 3:17, knock. This time, it was louder. My name is Benjamin Walker, 43 years old. Been driving long haul since I was 26. Never been good at staying in one place too long. And the road didn't ask questions. I got a daughter, Melanie. She's 16 now. Lives with her mom in Tulsa. I send what I can. Try to call when I'm not between cell towers or passed out in the sleeper. She's got this way of saying, "Hey, Dad," that makes me forget how far apart we really are. Makes me wish I'd done some things differently. I used to like the silence out here. The rhythm of wheels on asphalt. The low hum of the road beneath you, stretching out into forever. It gave me peace. Gave me room to think. Room to forget. Now it feels like something else is out here with me. I run mostly southwest. Texas to Arizona, sometimes up to Wyoming if the load pays decent. A lot of that stretch is nothing but heat, rattlesnakes, and flat desert. No towns, no lights, just the occasional gas station with a busted vending machine and coffee that tastes like old pennies. And that's where it started. On a stretch of Route 83. One of those nameless places with no signs, just a wide dirt shoulder and a lonely little pull-off where you can kill the engine and pretend the world doesn't exist. I'd done my hours. Logbook was clean. I figured I'd catch 5, maybe 6 hours before pushing north. But sleep doesn't come easy anymore. I tried playing music, didn't help. Tried whiskey, worse. Tried leaving the dome light on. But all it did was cast shadows across the dashboard. The kind of shadows that twitch just enough to keep your eyes open. And every night, 3:17, knock. It was always just one, always on the driver's side. But that's not the part that got to me. No, it was the 6th night. When I woke up, opened my eyes, and saw something written on the inside of the windshield. Letters traced into the fogged-up glass, like someone breathing just inches away. 3:17, again. My hand was shaking so bad I could barely wipe it off. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Who the hell would believe it? But deep down, I knew. Whatever this was, it wasn't just in my head. And it wasn't finished with me. Couple nights later, I pulled into a rest stop just outside Santa Rosa. One of the bigger ones had a diner, 2 diesel pumps, even a bathroom that didn't smell like pure hell. I parked between 2 reefers, hoping the sound would drown out whatever had been finding me at night. I didn't sleep right away. Sat in the diner nursing burnt coffee, watching the late crowd. Drivers mostly. Tired eyes, grease under the nails. That same slouched posture we all get after too many years on the road. One old guy caught my eye. Gray beard down to his chest, eyes like burnt coal. He was sitting alone at the counter, eating eggs like they were the last thing he'd ever taste. Something about him felt worn down in a way I recognized. I slid onto the stool next to him and nodded. "Long night," I said. He looked at me like he already knew something. "You running north or west?" "West, toward Flagstaff." He squinted. "You park off 83 a few nights ago?" That stopped me cold. I hadn't told anyone where I'd been. "Yeah," I said slowly. "Why?" He chewed a moment longer and set his fork down soft. "You wake up at 3:17? My stomach dropped. "Yeah." He didn't smile, didn't blink, just muttered. "Thought so." His name was Clarence. Been driving since '76. He said the road changed sometime around 1994. Said drivers started disappearing, quiet like. No crash, no body, no word. First was a guy named Randy Evans, Clarence said. Pulled over near mile 237, Route 83. Radioed in that he heard someone knocking on his cab. Then he was gone. I asked if Randy ever turned up. Clarence just stared into his coffee. All they found was his logbook. Pages ripped out. Last entry was 3:17 a.m. I didn't say much after that. Just sat there, heart thudding like a drum in my throat. He reached into his vest pocket and pulled out a crumpled napkin. "Take this," he said, sliding it across the counter. Written in shaky ink. "If you hear it knock, don't answer, ever." I laughed, nervously. "You trying to scare me, old man?" Clarence didn't move. "You already scared, Benjamin Walker. I can see it in your hands." He stood, dropped a few bills, and walked out into the dark. That night, I parked next to a row of trucks, under lights, near noise. Everything you'd think would keep a man safe. But it came anyway. 3:17, and the knock wasn't just once this time. It came twice. Then a pause. And then, on the passenger side. I left the truck running that night. Lights on. Engine humming like a heartbeat I was too afraid to silence. I didn't sleep, just sat in the driver's seat until dawn cracked across the horizon like a busted yoke, and the shadows started crawling backward. Next day, I called in sick. Told dispatch I'd deliver the load a day late. They didn't argue. Guess my voice didn't leave much room for discussion. I checked into a roadside motel 20 miles out of Holbrook. Western breeze, the kind of place that used to have a pool in dreams, but now just has cracked stucco walls and a buzzing Coke machine that eats your money. Room 6. I chose it because it was farthest from the office, tucked away in the back. Thought maybe whatever was following me wouldn't see me check in, like it was a person, like it had eyes. I know how that sounds. The room was cold. Old wall unit wheezing in the corner, bedspread stiff like it had been starched with sadness. I double-locked the door, pulled the curtains, even shoved a chair under the handle. Overkill, maybe, but fear makes you thorough. I lay down, fully dressed, knife under the pillow. Told myself, if I don't sleep in the truck, it won't come. The knocking's tied to the cab, to the road. This room's off route, out of reach. For the first time in weeks, I fell asleep hard. No dreams, no tossing, Just a dead kind of quiet. Until... knock. Not loud. Not rushed. Measured. Deliberate. And it wasn't on the window. It was on the bathroom door. My eyes snapped open. I hadn't even left the light on in there. Just a dark rectangle in the corner of the room, and the feeling, God, the feeling of something behind it, waiting. I didn't move at first, barely breathed. The knock came again, softer this time, but closer somehow. I reached for the knife, stood slowly. Every step toward that door felt like walking underwater. I put my ear to the wood. Nothing. I turned the knob. The door creaked open an inch, then two. Empty. No one inside. No sound. No shadow. But the mirror fogged. Completely. Like someone had been standing there, breathing heavy. And written across the center, dragged by a fingertip through the condensation. "You moved." I followed. I stumbled back, heart punching inside my ribs. And just behind me, the motel door rattled once in its frame. Not from wind, not from draft, from the outside. From something trying to come in, quietly. I left that motel before sunrise. Didn't check out. Didn't pack right. I just grabbed my boots, my keys, and peeled out of that gravel lot like something was chasing me. Because something was. I drove straight through to Tulsa. 10 hours without stopping, without thinking. Didn't even care about the logbook. Let them fire me. Let them find me. None of that mattered anymore. My daughter Melanie met me at the door. "Dad," she said, squinting like she hadn't seen me in years. I wrapped her in my arms and didn't say a word. Not for a long time. I stayed at my ex-wife's house that night. Slept on the couch like I used to before the divorce. Melanie was in her room. My ex was working a night shift at the clinic. Just me in the silence of a house I didn't belong to anymore. And for the first time since it started, I felt okay. Almost safe. I must have dozed off around midnight. And then I heard it, her voice. "Dad." Someone was at my window. I bolted upright. Melanie stood there in the hallway, barefoot, pale. My heart collapsed in on itself. "What do you mean?" I woke up and someone tapped, just once, like they wanted me to know they were there. I rushed to her room, window locked, curtains drawn, nothing outside, except for the clock on her nightstand. 3:17 a.m., that's when I knew. I'd brought it with me. It didn't care about the road, or the truck, or where I slept. It was following me. Next morning, I drove to the edge of town, out to an old quarry where people used to dump scrap and burn brush. I took the jacket I'd been wearing every night it knocked, the one I had on the first night at mile marker 237, and I set it on fire. Watched it curl and blacken until it was just ash in the wind. And I swear to God, as the flames climbed up that sleeve, I heard it. Knock. Then another. From behind me, I turned. No one there. But lying in the bed of my truck, like it had always been there, was a folded piece of paper. No name, no handwriting. Just 4 words, pressed into the sheet like teeth marks. "Burn won't help you." I didn't take it with me. I drove straight home, locked every door, turned off every light, sat in the kitchen with a knife on the table and a flashlight in my lap. I told myself, this ends tonight, and then knock. But this time, it didn't come from outside. It came from the hallway. I didn't open the door right away. Just sat there, breath caught in my throat, blade shaking in my hand, flashlight beam jittering across the wall like it was scared too. The hallway stretched long and quiet, the kind of quiet that hums just under your skin. I waited. 10 seconds, maybe 20. Nothing. No more knocking. So I got up. Slowly, step by step, the wood creaked under my weight like it didn't want me to go. And I swear, right before I reached the hallway door, I smelled something. Not smoke, not rot. Diesel. Old, thick, burnt. The same smell that lives in every truck stop from here to California. But I hadn't been near a rig in 2 days. I opened the hallway door, nothing there. Except the radio, my old CB unit. I hadn't used it in years. It was sitting on the floor next to the coat rack, like someone had left it as a gift. Covered in dust, wires still coiled like a sleeping snake. I didn't plug it in, didn't have to. It crackled, once. Twice. Then a burst of static. And a voice. A man's voice. Warped, rough, but still clear enough to hear the fear buried underneath. If you're hearing this, then it followed you too. The voice paused. I froze, crouched next to the radio like a kid hiding from thunder. My name's Randy Evans. I drove out of Houston till one night I stopped past mile 237 on Route 83. That's where it finds you. Don't matter where you go after that. Don't matter who you try to warn. Once it knocks, it knows your name. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. I burned the seats. I wrecked the cab. I even pulled the fuses out of the dash. But it don't care about machines. It wants you. More static. Then a low breath, like someone pressed too close to the mic. You get one chance. One. Go back to where it started. Go back to 237. It won't leave you till you do. And then, click. Silence. I picked up the radio, turned it over in my hands. On the back, someone had scratched into the plastic with a key or a knife. Sloppy, panicked. Let it knock. Don't let it in. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. By sunrise, I was back in the truck, engine roaring, tires burning east, back to the desert, back to the place where it all began. Mile marker 237. I got there just after 9 p.m. Mile marker 237. There's nothing special about it, not at first. Just a patch of cracked shoulder, a busted fence line, and sand that runs forever in every direction. No lights, no buildings, no cell signal. Just nothing. But it felt different, like the air was too still, too thick. The sky hung lower. Even the stars looked farther away, like they were watching me from somewhere else entirely. I parked the truck exactly where I had that first night. Same angle. Same rut in the dirt under the left tire. It all lined up, like it had been waiting. I turned off the engine, let the night bleed in. No music, no CB, no headlights. Just me, and whatever was coming. I sat in the driver's seat staring at the clock. 2:59. Every part of me screamed to run, to start the engine and never look back. But it was too late for that. I'd brought it to my daughter. I'd let it into my life. This was mine to end. 3:12. I reached behind me, unzipped the sleeper curtain just enough to see the narrow bed, rumpled and empty. It looked normal. Too normal. 3:15. The air turned cold, not desert cold, dead cold, like something had sucked the heat right out of the cab. My breath came out in fog. And then, knock. Driver's side. One tap. I didn't move. Knock. Passenger side. Slower. Closer. I stayed frozen. Hands clenched, heart hammering like it wanted out. And then, From behind me, inside the cab, the sleeper door, knock. This one was different. Not tentative. Not curious. It was patient. Like it already knew I was listening. Like it had all the time in the world. I turned slowly, flashlight in one hand, the other gripping the edge of the seat so hard I thought I'd rip it loose. The curtain was still, but there was a shape behind it. A silhouette, barely an outline. Too tall to fit standing, too still to be sleeping, like someone crouched just behind the thin fabric. "Who are you?" I whispered. No answer. "What do you want?" Silence. Then the curtain moved, just slightly, like a breath. And from behind it, in a voice that wasn't human, that didn't come from the throat, but from under the skin, came a whisper.
"Let me in."
I launched myself out of the seat, hit the cab door, fell into the dirt outside. My flashlight skidded into the brush. I scrambled to my feet, ran 10, maybe 20 steps away before turning back. But the truck was quiet. No movement, no sound. Just my own rig, sitting there under the stars, like nothing had happened. But through the windshield, through the faint fog of the night air, I could see it. A new message, scrawled from the inside. "You opened it once." I haven't driven since that night. Sold the rig a week later to a kid out of El Paso. Told him the tires were new, engine clean, logbook tight. Didn't mention the knocking. Didn't mention the smell. Didn't mention the thing that left fingerprints on the inside of the sleeper window. I changed my number. Got a cheap apartment outside the city. No wheels, no noise, no damn clocks. And for a while, it was quiet. Weeks went by. I started to think maybe, just maybe, it stayed behind. Maybe I left it at mile 237, stuck in that sleeper like a ghost in a bottle. But the silence doesn't last forever. You start to hear things again, feel them. It started with little things. A creak at night. Static on the radio even when it was off. Waking up with a taste of diesel in my mouth. Then, last night, I woke up. No alarm, no dream, just wide open eyes, and the time glowing red on the microwave across the room. 3:17? I didn't move, didn't breathe, just stared at the numbers. Then, knock, from the hallway. I got up slow. Every step felt like glass under my feet. The air was cold again. That wrong cold. Not weather cold. Presence cold. I opened the door to the hall. Empty. But on the floor was my old jacket. The one I burned. Laid out perfect. No soot. No scorch marks. Like it never left. I don't know how it got there. I don't know what it means. But I didn't pick it up. I closed the door, sat back down, waited. And as the clock hit 3:18, I realized something. It doesn't care where I go. It doesn't care if I sell the truck, leave the road, burn the past. Once it's knocked, it never really stops. Maybe it waits. Maybe it follows. Maybe it just echoes. And now I hear it again. Not from the door, not from the hall, from inside the wall. Closer this time. One knock, then another. Then silence. You still listening? Good. Because if it ever comes for you, if you ever hear that knock at exactly 3:17, don't open it. Don't answer. Don't even breathe. Because once you do, once you let it in, it never leaves. And sooner or later, it knocks again. Bridge eyes. I don't know if I hit him, not for sure, but I didn't stop. It was late, One of those nights when the road just melts under your wheels. No rain, no fog, just darkness so thick it sticks to your windshield like old oil. I was dead tired. The kind of tired that crawls into your spine and stays there. And then, he was just there, in the headlights, in the middle of the lane, a figure, gray, still, like someone sleepwalking across the asphalt. I hit the brakes, too late, or maybe just in time. I didn't feel the bump, didn't hear a scream, just silence. And the truck kept going, humming like nothing ever happened. I looked in the side mirror. He was gone. Gone, or never there to begin with. I told myself it was an animal, maybe a trick of the light. Maybe I blinked longer than I thought. Maybe it was a dream I hadn't woken up from. And I kept driving. Next morning, I saw the news. Body found near County Road 17. Suspected hit and run. No leads. The place, same stretch I drove through. Same time, same night. I didn't call, didn't report, didn't tell a soul. What would I even say? Hey, I think I saw something. Or didn't. I'm not sure. Maybe it was me. Maybe it wasn't. I buried it. That's what we do out here. Drivers like me. You keep moving. You swallow the guilt with hot coffee and cold gas station sandwiches. You tell yourself the road doesn't care, so why should you? And it worked. For a while. Until the next night. When I looked in the mirror, and he was standing there. Not moving, not waving, just watching me from the shoulder of the road. Like he'd been waiting the whole time. Same route, same shift, same damn stretch of highway. I didn't ask for it. Dispatch just dropped the assignment like always. Pick up in Vesper, haul west through County 17, cross the viaduct before dawn. Soon as I saw the name on the screen, that road, I felt something crawl under my ribs. I almost said no, but I didn't. Didn't want questions. Didn't want to explain why one line of blacktop could twist my gut like wire. So I fueled up, packed a thermos, and told myself it was just another run, like all the others. But the thing is, it wasn't. Everything felt too quiet. The road, too empty. No other trucks, no cars, not even a set of taillights far ahead. Just me, the hum of the engine, and the soft static of the radio I couldn't bring myself to turn off. Like white noise was the only thing keeping me in the world. I knew exactly when I hit that stretch. The mile marker, the curve in the guardrail, that weird billboard half torn off on the right. And even though I told myself I wouldn't look, I looked. Mirror. There he was again. Same spot, same figure. Standing on the shoulder like last time. Still. Gray. No face, just shape, like the dark got bored and put on a jacket. I blinked hard. He was gone. But that silence in my chest, it didn't leave. It pressed down like weight, like memory, like whatever I didn't stop for last time had never left the road at all. I told myself, don't look again. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, breathe slow. That's all. You're tired. You're seeing shadows. Tricks of headlights, fog, adrenaline, guilt, whatever name helps you sleep. So I adjusted the side mirror just a little. Just enough so it pointed down, showed nothing but pavement. Then the other one. Tilted it toward the trailer, out of sight, out of mind. That worked for 10, maybe 15 minutes, until I saw him again, but not in the mirrors. In the reflection on the screen of the GPS, a flash. Just enough to make my heart lurch, like someone sitting in the passenger seat, staring straight ahead. I blinked, touched the glass. Nothing there. A few miles later, Same thing, but in the chrome trim above the radio. His shape for half a second. Watching me. Always still, always behind. I grabbed my cap, tossed it over the screen. Stupid, but it felt better. It felt like doing something. Then it got worse. The windshield. I started seeing him in the shine of oncoming headlights. Like his shape was burned into my brain, and now it was leaking out. Into glass, into metal, into anything that caught the light just right. He wasn't chasing me. He was waiting. And the less I looked at him, the closer he seemed to get. I almost pulled over. Hand hovered near the signal, thumb twitching toward the hazard lights. Something in my chest kept whispering. Just stop. Just call. Say it. Say what you think you did. I opened the contacts on my phone, scrolled to Anastasia, stared at her name. What would I even say? Hey, Anastasia. Remember that night a few months back? The route through County 17? I think I might have hit someone. Or maybe not. But he's following me now. Or watching me, or I don't know, maybe I'm losing my mind. Yeah, that'd go well. She'd say, you're tired. You're always tired. Go sleep it off. And maybe she'd be right. But the thought of hearing her voice, warm, real, human, made my fingers itch. I hadn't spoken to her in weeks. And yet, I locked the screen, tossed the phone onto the passenger seat. Didn't press the brakes, didn't make the call. I just kept going, like always. But as I passed a road sign, white paint cracked and bent, I glanced into the mirror by reflex and froze. He was standing closer this time. Not on the shoulder, not far behind, but right at the edge of the trailer, 1 foot forward, like he was about to climb up and ride with me the rest of the way. And for the first time, I thought I saw his face. Just for a blink, and it looked like, no, it didn't. Not yet. I stopped at a roadside station just for coffee. Not even to rest. I wasn't tired anymore. Not the regular kind, anyway. The kind I had now, it hummed under the skin, like static in my bones. Like something just behind me, breathing slow. Inside, buzzing fluorescence, burnt smell of cheap beans. One other guy at the counter, older, worn down. Trucker, too, I could tell by the eyes. He was staring at the window, not through it, at it, at the reflection. I grabbed my cup, thought about saying something, didn't. But as I turned to leave, he said it, without looking at me. He's behind you, isn't he? My spine locked. I didn't answer. He nodded like he already knew. He's not yours. Not really. Not yet. But he will be. I turned, slow. What the hell are you talking about? That was when he finally looked at me, eyes like gravel, voice dry. He only stays with the ones who didn't stop. Then he said the thing that's still echoing in my skull. The ones who didn't get out. Stay on the road, just not in the driver's seat. I stood there, cup cooling in my hand. By the time I could think of something to say, he was gone. Door hadn't opened, truck hadn't started. He just wasn't there anymore. And outside, in the window's glare, I saw my own reflection, and next to it, just for a second, another one. There's a thing that happens out here when you drive the same roads long enough. Your memory, it stops sorting things by time. You forget what happened last week, but remember the color of a gas station sign from 5 years ago. You forget birthdays, but you never forget that curve in the road where your tires slipped once in the rain. And sometimes, A thought comes back so sudden, so sharp, it cuts right through you. That happened just past mile marker 72. Out of nowhere, this flash, a flicker in the back of my mind, a moment I'd buried so deep I didn't even know it was mine. A night, long before that hit and run, maybe a year earlier, same route, same hour. I remember there was fog that time, thick, my wipers doing nothing. I slowed near the viaduct, and I saw someone. Someone just standing there, at the edge of the bridge, hands at their sides. Still, I remember my heart jumped. But I didn't stop. I didn't roll down the window. I didn't call anyone. I just thought, not my problem, and drove on. That was the first time. The first time I saw him, before anything ever happened, before I thought I was part of this. I think now, maybe that was my warning. Maybe that was someone else's figure. And when I passed by, when I didn't stop, that's when it became mine. The bridge came into view like a ghost, rising out of the dark with no sound, no welcome, no warning. I took my foot off the gas, didn't brake, didn't accelerate, just coasted, like I was being pulled toward it. The road was empty, the sky blank, no stars, no moon, just that humming tension in the air, like the moment before lightning hits. I glanced in the mirror. He was there, not on the shoulder, not behind, but right next to the trailer, pacing me. Step for step, no face, no eyes, just a shape, human enough to understand, wrong enough to freeze your blood. I pulled over, slowly. Tires hissed against wet gravel, turned off the engine. I opened the door. The silence hit like a slap, thick, alive, breathing in sync with mine. I stepped out into the cold, walked toward the center of the bridge, not a sound, no cars, no wind, just the faint buzz of the taillights behind me and the thump of my own pulse. Then I turned, and I saw it. In the mirror on the passenger side, the one I hadn't touched all night, he was standing there. But he wasn't behind the truck. He was me. Same jacket, same stance, same hands, curled tight like I always do when I'm angry and don't show it. And in that instant, I remembered something else. I remembered how that shape on the bridge, the one I passed a year ago, stood the same way, head tilted just like mine, shoulders slumped just like mine. And I knew it wasn't a stranger. It never was. It was always me. And now, I was the one waiting in the mirror. Headlights bloomed in the distance, soft at first, then sharp and wide, cutting through the fog like a blade. Another truck, coming fast. I stood still, one foot on the edge of the bridge, hand resting on the cold rail. I didn't feel the wind, didn't hear the engine, just the thrum of the tires, and the voice in my head, steady as gravel. Now it's your turn. I looked down, then up, and in the chrome of the oncoming truck, I saw it. Not me. Him, standing there, just like I had, watching, waiting. The lights swallowed everything. Tires screamed. Horns split the silence, but I didn't move, didn't flinch, because I finally understood. I wasn't running from him. I was running to him, and he had always been waiting. Silence. Then static, sharp, cutting, alive in the cab of the other truck. A voice over the radio, low and tired. You see that? What? On the bridge. Someone was standing there. No, nothing on the road. But in the mirror, yeah. I saw him. And the road kept going. And the night stayed quiet. And in the mirror, Someone watched.